Hello everyone, I'm Randy Suarez, aka Silver Crow, and today we're going to continue the last part of the case of Jon Koppenhaver, and like I said before, this is a descent to madness, and the madness keeps going. Whew, Jesus. Basically what this guy did, damn, fuck. Anyway, further ado, let's get started.
Recounts 4 graphic occurrences of her getting physically assaulted by the defendant, with the 4th being over another guy designing her gold-plated fangs.
He ripped my wig off, and I took my fangs out because I knew he was going to hit me next, and I didn't want to either chip my teeth or swallow one of the fangs.
Okay. So you took them out? What happened after you took the fangs out?
I put them into my bag, and he began screaming at me more and more, and he turned the car around to go back where we came from. I had taken my seatbelt off because I knew if we hit a stoplight, I'd be able to escape and I wouldn't have to get hit this time.
Okay.
So I took my seatbelt off without him noticing, and I tried, when we reached the stoplight, thank God we hit a stoplight, I opened the door to try and escape, and he pulled me back in by my hair and slammed my head down on the dashboard.
Jesus!
Which chipped my tooth. And then he was still really mad, so he grabbed my head and brought me in and bit my chin right here.
My left part.
What is he, a monster? What the hell? Oh, God. Okay. And this is what I don't understand. And continue not understand. Hold on, let me straighten up a bit. Is people like him, no matter if it's male or female, who is the abuser, claim that they're misunderstood or something happened. I never understand why take it out on somebody. Especially for someone that you love. I don't understand. I will never understand it, and I'm not going to. So.
Your mom and you?
Yes. And I don't remember how many times he hit me after that. But he turned down the side road by the Best Buy, and he said, "Now I have to kill you because people saw you try and escape."
That face hurt her. That, to me, this says all I need to hear. This man is completely... It's like I said in my previous videos when I did this, the first and second part. This man clearly is insane. On top of that, he's a monster. It's like, dude, what's wrong with you? Jeez.
He said, "Now I have to take you to the desert and kill you." I still have my seatbelt off.
First of all, dumb cliche. Take her to the... Oh, God. It's like, really? You gotta take her to the desert and... Oh, God. That's the one... You're dumb. Thinking nobody's not gonna look at the desert. 2, you put your hands on her. That's actually one, actually. Number 2, trying to take her to the desert. This guy... What? Oh, God.
Bent over crying, and at some point he punched me in the back.
Why?
And then he took me to a gym parking lot, and he calmed down a little bit, and he licked his hand and tried to wipe some of the blood away. He told me he couldn't take me home like this because my mom was home. He told me he had to clean me up, but everything was going to be fine. And then after that, he took me home. He went inside first. When my mom greeted him, he said that I was just, getting some stuff out of the car and that I would be in shortly. And then when she went back to her room, he allowed me to come in and go upstairs and clean myself up.
What were your injuries after that incident?
I had a black eye and I had a cut under my eye. I had a scratch on my nose where he had hit me. I had a bite mark here. And that's pretty much it. My chipped tooth. I once told my mom, I just fell down the stairs in my bedroom. Of course, the cliche, I fell down the stairs. But I ended up using that. I told my friends that it was just a dog scratch, or, my dogs are large, that a dog had hit me in the head, like head butted me. Like it was, I would just come up with any excuse that I could use.
You said in the days afterwards, he would take care of you. So let's say that there's an incident like we were just talking about, and then you have marks on your face. In the next days, how would he treat you?
It would be the best days of our relationship. He would stay home from training just to be with me, and we would watch all my favorite movies. He would go to the store and get all the snacks that I wanted. He'd go get coffee for me. We would order, take in a delivery. He would just be around me and make sure that I was okay.
Was he loving during those periods?
Extremely loving.
Hold on. Oh, I knew that sound familiar. Oh my god, no. Oh, baby girl, no. Oh, damn. Yeah, this man is a complete psychopath. Psychopath, sociopath, I don't care what it called. This dude is, like I said, completely insane. Now, that clicked. This man was trying to basically gave her, and Dave Chappelle talked about this in his 4th Netflix special towards the end, about a pimp named Iceberg. He basically gave her the iceberg treatment, beat her, then cleaned her up and basically groomed her in a way for the next several days, very lovingly. And Jesus, oh sweet merciful heavens, oh no. And here's the thing: there's people like him out there, and say, "Oh, I did this because I love her, or I did this because she deserves it, or something like that." No, you freaking psychopath! That's not love.
This is known in psychology as the cycle of abuse, or more specifically, phase 3, sometimes referred to as the honeymoon stage. After an abusive episode, the abuser will often seek connection. They will act romantic, apologetic, and remorseful. The abused will primarily feel relief in that they are no longer being attacked, but they may also begin to feel a stronger connection to the abuser due to the abrupt switch of contrasting emotions. When intense fear and intimidation is directly followed by affection and warmth, the intimate nature of the latter can become significantly intensified. The abused will then feel reassured and hopeful about the relationship, and this denial approves the illusion of safety. During therapy, the counselor will often refer to this as the merry-go-round. The reason for this is because the cheerful image of an amusement ride is believed to make it less intimidating, and therefore easier to both spot and then accept when the cycle of abuse is occurring. Christie then goes on to graphically recount just one of the multiple times she was raped by the defendant.
When this is going on, are you saying anything? Are you fighting?
I start by saying, no, please don't. Like, I don't want this to happen. And then I just give up.
Did you make clear to him that this is not what I want?
Yes, I did. I began crying at some point. I tell him, stop. And then I just lay there.
After it was done, how did it end?
He got off, and then I went to the shower and just kept crying. And he started screaming at me, what the fuck's wrong with you?
After this event...
Freaking monster. Doing this to this poor lady. See, I was taught by others, by many others, do unto others as you have them do unto you. Every action is opposite and equal reaction. Also was taught to be a gentleman. I pride myself on always being a gentleman. Because there are some ladies who will lie about stuff like this. She is not lying whatsoever. Like, before I started reacting to this, when I was recommending this, I did some research. But watching it live like this, man, The dude is a freaking monster.
Happened, um, did you still maintain a relationship with him?
Yes, I did.
Why did you continue to stay with him when these things were being done to you?
I loved him. I would have done anything for him. I just wanted to be with him.
Another hour of testimony goes by where Christy details multiple occurrences of physical and psychological abuse. She eventually gets to the moment when Corey Thomas had just left the apartment after being assaulted by Koppenhaver.
Now, you said that after Corey leaves, you remember the defendant running at you.
Yes.
And then you remember, the next thing you remember is being in the shower.
Yes.
Do you remember how you got in the shower?
I don't know how I got in the shower.
Do you remember, when you were in the shower, did you have clothes on or off?
They were off. And the shorts that I was wearing were in the shower.
When you were in the shower, what was the defendant doing?
He was going through my phone and yelling at me through the glass door.
What was he yelling about?
I don't remember exactly what he was yelling about anymore.
At that point in time, did you think you had been hit?
Yes. I could taste blood in my mouth, so I knew I had been hit in the face. And I don't remember how I got in the shower.
What's the next thing you remember?
Past that, I just remember being on all fours right in front of the shower, like I was about to stand up, and he kicked me in the ribs so hard that I fell over and began convulsing.
Did you ever ask him for help or to stop?
Just after this, I told him that I needed help, because I genuinely felt like I was going to die at this point.
What did he say to you?
He told me that nobody could help me.
At any point in time, did he ever use any weapons against you?
Yes, he did.
Can you explain how?
He had a knife. It was one of my kitchen set knives. It was a black handle with silver rivets. And he would push it into my ear. He would push it into my hand. He sawed off my hair. He cut up all of my wigs because he always hated my wigs. He cut my head.
With the knife?
Yes. I just remember him still being so angry. He broke the handle off of the knife and still continued to use the knife blade in his hand to push it into me.
Is there come a point where he tells you that he's going to have to kill you?
Yes.
What does he say?
He looks at me and he says, "Now I have to kill you. I've gone too far. You can't be seen like this. Everyone's gonna know."
Koppenhaver then goes downstairs to the kitchen to retrieve another blade, at which point Christy gets to her feet, staggers to her first-story balcony, and jumps off. She then musters the strength to make her way down to the end of the street, where her neighbor spots her hiding in the garden and calls 911. Christy was taken to the hospital.
Thank God for that neighbor. Seriously, thank God for that neighbor. After watching this, I kind of want to give her a hug and saying not every guy is like this. It just, man. And it breaks me because when it comes to stuff like this, I personally have to deal with it with my family due to the fact I still remember when I got a call from work because my sister, and this is getting a little bit personal for me, my sister, my oldest sister, at the time her boyfriend was putting her hands on her. And this time, this is when my niece, at least no more than 2 or 3, I get a call from my mom, and at this time, I had to take off work early to deal with the situation. And when I got there, funny, my brothers have them got this guy against the wall, choking the crap out of him. After he said I let him go, I said, hey, just let him go. Let me have a talk with him. Me and him had a talk. I gave him one warning. Then after that, I haven't seen him. Well, my sister hasn't seen him either. So,
treated for her injuries. The horrific
Jesus
images circulated on social media, and the hashtag War Machine began trending in the United States, Canada, Brazil, and the United Kingdom. The mugshot of the perpetrator became the most retweeted image during the second week of August 2014, and this eventually led to his arrest. The trial was a hot topic in the national news, with each of the elements receiving a considerable amount of coverage, yet the most talked about was Erin McInday, Christie's mother. She would testify on day 7 of the trial and managed to come across as both endearing yet intimidating at the same time. The type of person you would want as a friend, but most certainly would not want as your enemy.
And here's the thing, and based on that look, you made a mistake. In my nearly 30 years of living, I know two things, especially as loving parents, loving parents. You don't F with their kids whatsoever. You don't. If you cause any type of harm, bodily harm, abusive, anything, either one or two things is going to happen. Either someone's going to come after you, or they will come after you. You won't like either, but it's based on her look. Mama Bear is teed off. And nothing more will satisfy her more is either have him in jail, or she is the one that pulled the trigger on him. So, don't mess with Mama Bear. Same thing with Papa Bear. Do not mess with their kids. Because if you mess with their kids, well, you may find yourself somewhere either 6 feet under, not to the upper room. After all this, now you're going to hell straight. Going straight to hell. Don't pass go. Do not collect $200.
Just briefly, like, how would you characterize Chrissy? What type of child was she?
She was a very quiet child. She liked to keep to herself. She was very loving. She was very creative. She liked to color and draw and play with Barbies. And
How did she do in school?
she was outstanding in school. I never had to stand over her and say, do your homework. It was an automatic thing for her.
Would you say she's an extrovert or an introvert?
I would say introvert for sure.
As far as you know, does she drink alcohol?
No,
Or did she drink
never.
alcohol?
She's never had alcohol.
What about drugs?
No.
In 2013, did Christine start dating someone by the name of Jonathan Koppenhaver?
Yes,
Do you see him here?
I do. He's wearing a white shirt, playing with his fingers.
Okay, Your Honor, may the record reflect identification of the defendant?
Like I said, Mama Bear's angry.
Now, does he look the same to you as he sits here today?
No,
How is he look different?
he looks like he's lost about 50, 60 pounds. He's not as broad in the arms and in the shoulders.
Did you start to see any changes in Christine after she had been with him
Yes,
for a few months?
yes.
Can you please describe some of those changes?
She was more isolated from me. She didn't want to do anything with me. She would spend more time in her room. She wasn't as talkative. Her social media, one of her accounts was closed. She's always been independent. Even as a little girl, she was independent. And you could see her independence kind of slip away as time went on.
Were you ever present at the home when the defendant became physically violent towards your daughter?
I was in that room that day, and I heard screaming and fighting. And I came out of my bedroom, and I said, what the F is going on? They're screaming at each other. I can't even remember what they were screaming, but Christy was standing up on the stairs. I'm not sure where John was. And she said he grabbed me by my neck and dragged me up the stairs. And I'm like, I'm calling the police. And you could see she had a red mark on her throat. So
I'm sorry, when she said that to you, when she said he grabbed me by my throat, is she talking like you and I are talking, or is...
No, she was screaming. She was hysterical.
Okay.
I think at that point, John had gone up to the bedroom to pack his stuff, because when I said I'm calling the police, he he's leaving. And he stood in the closet with his laundry bag, taking his clothes and stuffing it in there, going, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you.
Was the relationship between the defendant and you, had it pretty much deteriorated?
Yes.
And because of that, was Christy often kind of in the middle between the two of you?
Yes.
Was it clear at this point that you didn't like him and
Oh, I
he didn't
couldn't
like
stand
you?
him at that point. I didn't like him. And I told Christy.
Here's the thing: no parent, no matter if it's male or female, or their child, male or female, would never like their significant other if their significant other put their hands on them. That's basically it.
You know, I started noticing things, and I told her my opinion, and it was just, she'd say, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
And then at 6:44, you receive a text message from the defendant. You awake yet? Several question marks. There was a huge fight when I came in. The guy she was in bed with came at me. So when you start getting these text messages, what do you do? What's going through your mind?
I tried to call him because I couldn't text fast enough. I just woke up. I was trying to read those and try to process out of a straight sleep. What am I looking at? My mind's trying to catch up to everything that's going on. And so I tried to call him, and I said, what's going on? And he goes, we got into a fight, and I had to beat her up, and from that point on, I think I hung up the phone. I went and told...
Sorry. If I'm on the phone and if my daughter, boyfriend, calls saying, answer, I have to beat her up, I'm peering out of thin air to that place like the fucking boogeyman. And I'm throwing hands.
My boyfriend, you've got to get up now. He's done something to Christy. Move your car so I can get across town. My boyfriend said, oh God.
So did you get in your car and go across town?
He moved his car, and I started driving, and I think the next time I had a thought, I was actually underneath the Desert Inn, the viaduct, the bridge on the DI.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking
Yes,
about?
I do.
I think that's the last cognitive thought that I really had from the house to there. And my thought was, she's dead. That was my thought.
Did you get to Christy's house?
I did.
And when you got there, were there already police officers and everything?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you do?
I stopped my truck in the street. I got out of my truck. I saw that the front door was open. I started running. There were officers outside of the house trying to tell me to stop. There were some officers inside the house, and I made it as far as to the inside door, and it was almost like I was like face to face with a lady police officer. And she looked at me, and I looked at her, and I said, is my daughter dead? And she just looked at me, and she said, no, she's at Sunrise Hospital.
Yeah, because if the defendant, if John was still there, yeah, they might have to end up getting her off of that dude before she, which I can't blame her. I probably will let it play out. You put your hands on my kid and expect for it to come out clean. You lost your damn mind.
I get to the ER, and I said, I'm Christy Mack's mom. I want to see my daughter. And they took me to her room. And I walked in, and she was laid in the bed, and it didn't look like her. And I walked around, and I grabbed her hand. And she said, please don't cry.
attempt to help her find something that she was looking for.
Yes.
And what was that?
Her cell phone.
Did you text the defendant and ask him for it?
Christy told me that he had taken her cell phone. So I started sending him text messages that I wanted that fucking phone.
Were you ever able to get the cell phone?
No.
If looks could kill.
For real, I was thinking the same thing. She was
According to the
staring.
Journal of Neuroscience.
She was staring daggers at that man, and don't blame her, cause I would too. Cause you put your hands on her baby, who done nothing wrong. It went this far.
The mother and daughter relationship is the strongest of all bonds. The part of the brain that regulates emotion is more similar between mothers and daughters than any other intergenerational pairing, and this means a mother is more able to put herself in her daughter's shoes when facing a problem, and thus empathize with her struggle to a far greater extent.
Without talking about your conversations with Christy, was there a folder on Christy's phone that she specifically wanted you to get?
Yes.
During the remainder of Christy's stay at the hospital and then for several weeks after, did you kind of try to keep her in a safe place in hiding?
Yes.
Until the defendant had been apprehended?
Yes.
And you talked a little bit about Christy when you came to her in the hospital and started crying. She told you to quit crying.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I know it's hard, but I need an out-loud answer.
Would you consider her an emotional person?
No.
Do you consider it easy for her to share things?
No.
In regards to this incident, does she want to talk about it?
No.
Of course, she doesn't want to talk about it.
Because of the instance that you've spoken about, that you had seen the defendant physically violent, and because you saw your daughter with marks and you had concerns, do you regret now, not stepping in and going to the police?
No. Mm-mm. The other incidents that I saw, I really wish I would have shot you.
Point blank. Because you don't put your hands on nobody. This goes, again, like I said, it goes for both man and woman. Do not put your hands on anybody. Like, if you're in your relationship, don't you put your hands on your significant other. Even if you're outside of you're not in a relationship, don't start a fight. Don't start mess. Don't think before you act. For the love of God.
That's my retrospective. I wish I would have shot you.
Oh, thank you so much. Your Honor, that concludes my direct examination.
Okay. Cross.
The trial lasted 3 weeks, and the verdict came in on March 20th, 2017.
Verdict. We, the jury in the above titled case, find the defendant, War Machine, a.k.a. Jonathan Koppenhaver, as follows. Count 1. Battery constituting domestic violence, strangulation, ferret cage. Guilty of battery constituting domestic violence. Court. Count 2. Coercion. Guilty of coercion without force. Count 3. Preventing or dissuading witness or victim from reporting crime or commencing prosecution. Guilty of preventing or dissuading witness or victim from reporting crime or commencing prosecution.
The jury deadlocked on the 2 counts of attempted murder, but Koppenhaver was still convicted on 29 others, including kidnapping and sexual assault with a weapon. He was sentenced on June 5th, 2017.
Erin McAday and her daughter, Christy McAday, both made brief statements before the sentencing of Jonathan Koppenhaver, the 35-year-old mixed martial arts fighter known as War Machine.
I don't know if my life will feel complete in 12 years, or 20 years, or even 30 years. And neither do you.
I have to look out for the well-being of the community and avoid possible danger to future potential victims as I consider the appropriate sentence here.
Koppenhaver was ordered to serve 36 years to life after being convicted of more than 24 charges, including sexual assault and first-degree kidnapping.
So there you have it, the rise and fall of Jon War Machine Koppenhaver. It's a human paradox that many of us will only consider the big picture once it's already too late. He will more than likely spend the rest of his life in prison, and in reverse to the wonder of being able to create memories of the future, he now has to make do with the ones he's got. The mountaintops and the valleys. Only the mountains will never have seemed as high, and the valleys won't appear nearly as deep.
Alright, that is it for this video. Like I said, Jesus. I said before in my second video, my second reaction to this is a descent to madness, and this dude is completely insane. And a lot of people always trying to say, oh, well, they're misunderstood. And here's the thing, I get that, but it should never got that far to the point that you could use that as a crutch for them putting their hands or nearly beat someone to death because they're quote-unquote misunderstood. You're here beating a beautiful woman who loves you, who you actually wanted to meet in person before, and treat her like that. Like she's not. I gave her the iceberg treatment. And that ain't right. Jesus. Anyway, that is it for Jon. This video for cases of Jon Koppenhaver. So, any recommendations, please link them down. List them down below. What else should I react to? So anyway, like, comment, subscribe to my channel. And I need a drink after this. So till next time, peace out.